6:42 on a rainy evening, the cafe lights were warm. Drops of water traced the window like they had somewhere to go. A student closed her notebook near the counter by the door. The smell of coffee filled the room the way it always had before. I ordered what I always ordered and sat where I always sat. The seat beside the window was waiting quietly. Outside the buses passed. Inside the music played. And something felt familiar in the rain. At 6:42, the seat by the window was empty again, like it had been for years. At 6:42, the coffee tasted the same. The rain sounded the same, but somehow everything had changed. The seat by the window was empty again and full of memories. A couple shared a cheesecake near the bookshelf in the back. Someone laughed beside the counter, then disappeared into the crowd. An old pop song drifted softly from the speakers overhead, a song we used to listen to when the city felt younger. The waitress brought my coffee without asking what I'd choose. Some habits stay forever, even when people don't. Outside the buses passed. Inside the music played. And something felt familiar in the rain. At 6:42, the seat by the window was empty again, like it had been for years. At 6:42, the coffee tasted the same. The rain sounded the same, but somehow everything had changed. The seat by the window was empty again and full of memories. Maybe memories don't live in grand places. Maybe they live in empty chairs beside rainy windows on ordinary evenings. At 6:42, the seat by the window was empty again, but the cafe was still warm. At 6:42, the rain kept falling, the music kept playing, and life kept moving on. The seat by the window was empty again, yet somehow I didn't feel alone. The rain grew softer, the coffee cooled, and evening settled in. — 6:42 on a rainy evening, the cafe lights were warm. Drops of water traced the window like they had somewhere to go. A student closed her notebook near the counter by the door. The smell of coffee filled the room the way it always had before. I ordered what I always ordered and sat where I always sat. The seat beside the window was waiting quietly. Outside the buses passed, inside the music played, and something felt familiar. In the rain at 6:42, the seat by the window was empty again, like it had been for years. At 6:42, the coffee tasted the same, the rain sounded the same, but somehow everything had changed. The seat by the window was empty again, and full of memories. A couple shared a cheesecake near the bookshelf in the back. Someone laughed beside the counter, then disappeared into the crowd. An old pop song drifted softly from the speakers overhead, a song we used to listen to when the city felt younger. The waitress brought my coffee without asking what I choose. Some habits stay forever, even when people don't. Outside the buses passed, inside the music played, and something felt familiar. In the rain at 6:42, the seat by the window was empty again, like it had been for years. At 6:42, the coffee tasted the same, the rain sounded the same, but somehow everything had changed. The seat by the window was empty again, and full of memories. Maybe memories don't live in grand places, maybe they live in empty chairs beside rainy windows on ordinary evenings. At 6:42, the seat by the window was empty again, but the cafe was still warm. At 6:42, the rain kept falling, the music kept playing, and life kept moving on. The sick by the window was empty again, yet somehow I didn't feel alone. The rain grew softer, the coffee cooled, and evening settled in. On a rainy evening, the second floor was almost full. A man by the bookshelf read quietly as thunder rolled outside. The window carried streaks of rain across the city lights, and somewhere near the counter a grinder hummed again. The coffee sat before me, sending curls into the air, while memories arrived without invitation. Outside, the umbrellas moved like little boats across the street, and suddenly I was thinking of you. At 7:18, the coffee grew cold first, before I finished remembering everything we used to be. At 7:18, the rain kept falling softly, the music kept playing low, and the coffee grew cold first, while the the corner table beside the old brick wall, where you could watch the people passing underneath the lights. You draw circles on the paper cup while telling me your plans, and somehow every ordinary story sounded beautiful then. The waitress cleared the table nearby, a chair scraped on the floor. Small sounds filled the evening, the way they always do. Outside, the umbrellas moved like little boats across the street, and suddenly I was thinking of you. It's 7:18. The coffee grew cold first before I finished remembering everything we used to be. At 7:18, the rain kept falling softly, the music kept playing low, and the coffee grew cold first while the memories stayed warm. Funny how time works, coffee cools, rain ends. Seasons change, yet some conversations remain exactly where we left them. At 7:18, the coffee grew cold first, but the evening stayed with me long after I stood to leave. At 7:18, the rain became a whisper, the lights blurred through the glass, and the coffee grew cold first. But not the memories. The cup was empty, the rain was lighter, and the city moved on. "7:18 on a rainy evening, the second floor was almost full. A man by the bookshelf read quietly as thunder rolled outside. The window carried streaks of rain across the city lights, and somewhere near the counter a grinder hummed again. Coffee sat before me, sending curls into the air, while memories arrived without invitation. Outside, the umbrellas moved like little boats across the street, and suddenly I was thinking of you. At 7:18, the coffee grew cold first before I finished remembering everything we used to be. At 7:18, the rain kept falling softly, the music kept playing low, and the coffee grew cold first while the memories stayed warm. You always liked the corner table beside the old brick wall, where you could watch the people passing underneath the lights. You draw circles on the paper cup while telling me your plans, and somehow every ordinary story sounded beautiful then. The waitress cleared the table nearby, a chair scraped on the floor. Small sounds filled the evening, music kept playing low, and the coffee grew cold first, while the memories stayed warm. Funny how time works, coffee cools, rain ends, seasons change. Yes, some conversations remain exactly where we left them. At 7:18, the coffee grew cold first, but the evening stayed with me long after I stood to leave. At 7:18, the rain became a whisper, the lights blurred through the glass, and the coffee grew cold first, but not the memories. The cup was empty, the rain was lighter, and the city moved on. "7:51 on a rainy Thursday, the cafe windows glowed. People gathered around small tables, escaping from the weather outside. A student searched for an outlet near the bookshelf in the back. The smell of roasted coffee beans floated through the room. I was reading through old messages, half paying attention, when a familiar melody drifted from the speakers. It wasn't loud, it wasn't special, but somehow everything changed. At 7:51, a song near the counter brought back an entire year in just a few seconds. At 7:51, the rain disappeared, the cafe disappeared, and suddenly I was standing in another time again. It was the song they always played during the winter of 19, back when the days felt slower and the future felt close. You would hum along quietly without knowing all the words, tapping your fingers on the table beside your coffee cup. The barista filled another order, steam rising through the air, and for a moment the years between us vanished. It wasn't loud, it wasn't special, but somehow everything changed. At 7:51, a song near the counter brought back an entire year in just a few seconds. At 7:51, the rain disappeared, the cafe disappeared, and suddenly I was standing in another time again. People say photographs preserve memories, but songs are different. Songs don't show the past, they make you feel it. At 7:51, a song near the counter filled the room with old winters and forgotten afternoons. At 7:51, the coffee had grown colder, the rain had grown softer, but the melody remained beside me. The next song started, the rain continued, and the evening moved on. "7:51 on a rainy Thursday, the cafe windows glowed. People gather around small tables, escaping from the weather outside. The students search for an outlet near the bookshelf in the back. The smell of roasted coffee beans floated through the room. I was reading through old messages, half paying attention, when a familiar melody drifted from the speakers. It wasn't loud, it wasn't special, but somehow everything changed. At 7:51, a song near the counter brought back an entire year in just a few seconds. At 7:51, the rain disappeared, the cafe disappeared, and suddenly I was standing in another time again. It was the song they always played during the winter of 19, back when the days felt slower and the future felt close. You would hum along quietly without knowing all the words, tapping your fingers on the table beside your coffee cup. The barista filled another order, steam rising through the air, and for a moment the years between us vanished. It wasn't loud, it wasn't special, but somehow everything changed. At 7:51, a song near the counter brought back an entire year in just a few seconds. At 7:51, the rain disappeared, the cafe disappeared, and suddenly I was standing in another time again. People say photographs preserve memories, but songs are different. Songs don't show the past, they make you feel it. At 7:51, a song near the counter filled the room with old winters and forgotten afternoons. At 7:51, the coffee had grown colder, the rain had grown softer, but the melody remained long after it ended. At 7:51, a song near the counter brought back an entire year and left it gently on the table beside me. The next song started, the rain continued, and the evening moved on. "8:83 on a rainy Friday, the cafe felt smaller tonight. A barista wiped the counter while soft music filled the room. Near the window stood the chair where you always used to sit, your dark coat hanging loosely there on evenings much like this. The rain tapped on the glass was the way it always had before. And somehow I kept glancing toward that corner of the room. Some habits stay long after people leave. Some memories stay long after they're needed. At 8:23, your coat was gone, but I still looked at the chair like part of me expected you to walk through that door. At 8:23, the rain kept falling softly. The coffee smelled the same, but the chair beside the window felt different now. A woman opened her umbrella just outside beneath the sign. Two students shared a sandwich at the table near the stairs. The owner changed the playlist to an old familiar song, and every little detail made the evening feel unchanged, except for one small thing, the thing I noticed most. The coat was no longer there where it used to be. Some habits stay long after people leave. Some memories stay long after they're needed. At 8:23, your coat was gone, but I still looked at the chair like part of me expected you to walk through that door. At 8:23, the rain kept falling softly. The coffee smelled the same, but the chair beside the window felt different now. Sometimes we don't miss a person all at once. Sometimes we miss the little things around them first. At 8:23, your coat was gone. The chair stood quietly alone. The years had moved between us like rain across the glass. At 8:23, the city lights were glowing. The music played on, and I finally understood. Some empty places remain part of us forever. The rain slowed down, the cafe grew quieter, and evening carried on. Eight or 23 on a rainy Friday, the cafe felt smaller tonight. A barista wiped the counter while soft music filled the room. Near the window stood the chair where you always used to sit, your dark coat hanging loosely there on evenings much like this. The rain tapped on the glass the way it always had before, and somehow I kept glancing toward that corner of the room. Some habits stay long after people leave. Some memories stay long after chair beside the window felt different now. A woman opened her umbrella just outside beneath the sign. Two students shared a sandwich at the table near the stairs. The owner changed the playlist to an old familiar song, and every little detail made the evening feel unchanged. Except for one small thing, the thing I noticed most. The coat was no longer there where it used to be. Some habits stay long after people leave. Some memories stay long after they're needed. At 8:23, your coat was gone, but I still looked at the chair like part of me expected you to walk through that door. At 8:23, the rain kept falling softly. The coffee smelled the same, but the chair beside the window felt different now. Sometimes we don't miss a person all at once. Sometimes we miss the little things around them. First, at 8:23, your coat was gone. The chair stood quietly alone. The years had moved between us like rain across the glass. At 8:23, the city lights were glowing, the music played on, and I finally understood some empty places remain part of us forever. The rain slowed down, the cafe grew quieter, and evening carried on. "8:57 on a Saturday evening, the rooftop cafe glowed. Rain tapped softly overhead like fingers on a table. The city lights below blurred beneath the weather, turning every street into a watercolor painting. A man folded yesterday's newspaper near the window by the stairs, while the owner watered plants beside the counter. The rain kept speaking in a language only memories understand. At 8:57, the rain on the cafe roof sounded like an old conversation I almost remembered word for word. At 8:57, the coffee felt warmer, the city felt farther away, and the rain on the cafe roof stayed a little longer than the sadness did. Someone opened the door, bringing in the smell of wet pavement. A young couple shook their umbrellas and laughed quietly. The espresso machine hissed like it had all evening, and an old pop song played somewhere in the background. Nothing extraordinary happened, no grand moments appeared, yet somehow it became for a while. At 8:57, the rain on the cafe roof still echoed through the evening, long after the storm had passed. The lights reflected softly across the wet streets below, and the rain on the cafe roof turned an ordinary night into a memory. The rain grew lighter, the coffee cup was empty, and the city shimmered below. "8:57 on a Saturday evening, the rooftop cafe glowed. Rain tapped softly overhead like fingers on a table. The city lights below blurred beneath the weather, turning every street into a watercolor painting. A man folded yesterday's newspaper near the window by the stairs, while the owner watered plants beside the counter. The rain kept speaking in a language only memories understand. At 8:57, the rain on the cafe roof sounded like an old conversation. I almost remembered word for word. At 8:57, the coffee felt warmer, the city felt farther away, and the rain on the cafe roof stayed a little longer than the sadness did. Someone opened the door, bringing in the smell of wet pavement. A young couple shook their umbrellas and laughed quietly. The espresso machine hissed like it had all evening, and an old pop song played somewhere in the background. Nothing extraordinary happened. No grand moments appeared, yet somehow it became a night worth remembering. The rain kept speaking in a language only memories understand. At 8:57, the rain on the cafe roof sounded like an old conversation. I almost remembered word for word. At 8:57, the coffee felt warmer, the city felt farther away, and the rain on the cafe roof stayed a little longer than the sadness did. Maybe healing doesn't arrive with answers, maybe it arrives as rain above a rooftop and a place to sit for a while. At 8:57, the rain on the cafe roof still echoed through the evening, long after the storm had passed. At 8:57, the lights reflected softly across the wet streets below, and the rain on the cafe roof turned an ordinary night was empty, and the city shimmered below. "9:26 on a rainy Sunday. The cafe was nearly closed. The owner stacked the chairs slowly near the back of the room. I opened an old notebook, looking for a phone number, when a folded receipt slipped out and landed on the floor. Beneath it was a handwritten note in familiar blue ink, small enough to fit inside a pocket, yet somehow impossible to forget. Some things disappear for years and years, only to return when you need them most. And 9:26, I found a note beneath the receipt, a few simple words written long ago. And 9:26, the rain outside grew quieter, the years between us faded, and suddenly the evening felt warm again. The paper had grown softer around the folded edges. The ink had faded slightly, but the handwriting remained. Don't forget to smile today. That was all it said, a sentence so ordinary I almost laughed. Outside a bus stop briefly, before continuing down the street, and somewhere near the counter a coffee cup was washed. Some things disappear for years and years, only to return when you need them most. And 9:26, I found a note beneath the receipt, a few simple words written long ago. And 9:26, the rain outside grew quieter, the years between us faded, and suddenly the evening felt warm again. We spend so much time searching for big answers. Sometimes comfort arrives as a single sentence, written on a small piece of paper. At 9:26, I found a note beneath the receipt and carried it home that night inside my coat pocket. At 9:26, the rain finally ended, the cafe lights dimmed, and the words stayed with me long after the paper disappeared. The chairs were stacked, the lights grew softer, and the note remained. 9:26 on a rainy Sunday, the cafe was nearly closed. The owner stacked the chairs slowly near the back of the room. I opened an old notebook looking for a phone number when a folded receipt slipped out and landed on the floor. Beneath it was a handwritten note in familiar blue ink, small enough to fit inside a pocket, yet somehow impossible to forget. Some things disappear for years and years, only to return when you need them most. At 9:26, I found a note beneath the receipt, a few simple words written long ago. At 9:26, the rain outside grew quieter, the years between us faded, and suddenly the evening felt warm again. The paper had grown softer around the folded edges. The ink had faded slightly, but the handwriting remained. Don't forget to smile today. That was all it said. A sentence so ordinary, I almost laughed outside a bus stop briefly before continuing down the street. And somewhere near the counter, a coffee cup was washed. Some things disappear for years and years, only to return when you need them most. At 9:26, I found a note beneath the receipt, a few simple words written long ago. At 9:26, the rain outside grew quieter, the years between us faded, and suddenly the evening felt warm again. We spent so much time searching for big answers. Sometimes comfort arrives as a single sentence written on a small piece of paper. At 9:26, I found a note beneath the receipt and carried it home that night inside my coat pocket. At 9:26, the rain finally ended, the cafe lights dimmed, and the words stayed with me long after the paper disappeared. The chairs were stacked, the lights grew softer, and the note remained. On a rainy evening, the cafe wasn't crowded now. Only a few tables remained occupied. Near the windows and the wall, the owner counted receipts quietly behind the wooden counter, while the smell of coffee lingered. In the warm and fading air, the rain had slowed to a whisper outside beneath the lights. And every time the cafe door opened, I found myself looking Maybe some habits take longer to leave than the people who created them. At 9:53, someone opened the door, and for a second I thought it was you. At 9:53, the bell above the entrance rang. The rain followed someone inside, and hope followed too. At 9:53, someone opened the door and reminded me how memories still surprise us. A woman carrying a yellow umbrella stepped in from the rain. She ordered tea and sat alone near the bookshelf in the back. The old bell above the doorway settled back into silence, and the evening returned to its familiar rhythm. The espresso machine sighed softly. A chair moved across the floor. Small sounds filled the room like they always had before. Maybe some habits take longer to leave than the people who created them. At 9:53, someone opened the door, and for a second I thought it was you. At 9:53, the bell above the entrance rang. The rain followed someone inside, and hope followed too. At 9:53, someone opened the door and reminded me how memories still surprise us. Sometimes healing begins the moment we realize we're no longer waiting for someone to return, only remembering how much they once meant. At 9:53, someone opened the door, and for the first time I smiled at the mistake. At 9:53, the rain had almost ended. The city lights were brighter now, and the evening felt lighter too. At 9:53, someone opened the door and quietly closed a chapter in my heart. The bell rang once more. The rain was gone, and the night felt calm. On a rainy evening, the cafe wasn't crowded now. Only a few tables remained occupied. Near the windows and the wall, the owner counted receipts quietly behind the wooden counter, while the smell of coffee lingered in the warm and fading air. The rain had slowed to a whisper outside beneath the lights, and every time the cafe door opened, I found myself looking up. Maybe some habits take longer to leave than the people who created them. At 9:53, shelf in the back. The old bell above the doorway settled back into silence, and the evening returned to its familiar rhythm. The espresso machine sighed softly. A chair moved across the floor. Small sounds filled the room like they always had before. Maybe some habits take longer to leave than the people who created them. At 9:53, someone opened the door, and for a second I thought it was you. At 9:53, the bell above the entrance rang. The rain followed someone inside, and hope followed too. At 9:53, someone opened the door and reminded me how memories still surprise us. Sometimes healing begins the moment we realize we're no longer waiting for someone to return, only remembering how much they once meant. At 9:53, someone opened the door, and for the first time I smiled at the mistake. At 9:53, the rain had almost ended. The city lights were brighter now, and the evening felt lighter too. At 9:53, someone opened the door and quietly closed a chapter in my heart. The bell rang once more. The rain was gone, and the night felt calm. "10:18 on a rainy Sunday, the cafe was almost closed. The owner turned a few chairs upside down along the wooden floor. The espresso machine rested quietly after a busy day, and the lights seemed softer than they had before. Outside, the rain had finally stopped above the riverside road, leaving tiny reflections on the sleeping pavement. Some evenings end without a reason. Some memories leave without a goodbye. At 10:18, I ordered one last cup before closing time, and somehow it tasted like goodbye. At 10:18, the cafe grew quieter, the city lights grew brighter, and the years felt lighter than they had before. One last cup before closing, one last memory before home. A barista folded an apron near the counter by the door. Her radio played an old pop song almost too softly to hear. The smell of coffee lingered in the warm and empty room, like a conversation that wasn't ready to end. looked around the cafe at the tables and the lights and realized I wasn't searching anymore. Some evenings end without a reason. Some memories leave without a goodbye. At 10:18 I ordered one last cup before closing time, and somehow it tasted like goodbye. At 10:18 the cafe grew quieter, the city lights grew brighter, and the years felt lighter than they had before. One last cup before closing, one last memory before home. Maybe moving on isn't forgetting, maybe it's learning to carry the good parts with you and leave the sadness behind. At 10:18 I ordered one last cup before closing time, and watch the evening fade away. At 10:18 the rain was finally over, the cafe lights were dimming, and the road home waited quietly. One last cup before closing, one last look through the window, and one last thank you for everything. 10:30 and the door closed softly. The lights went out and the night fell warm. "10:18 on a rainy Sunday, the cafe was almost closed. The owner turned a few chairs upside down along the wooden floor. The espresso machine rested quietly after a busy day, and the lights seemed softer than they had before. Outside the rain had finally stopped above the riverside road, leaving tiny reflections on the sleeping pavement. Some evenings end without a reason, some memories leave without a goodbye. At 10:18 I ordered one last cup before closing time, and somehow it tasted like goodbye. At 10:18 the cafe grew quieter, the city lights grew brighter, and the years felt lighter than they had before. One last cup before closing, one last memory before home. A barista folded an apron near the counter by the door. A radio played an old pop song almost too softly to hear. The smell of coffee lingered in the warm and empty room, like a conversation that wasn't ready to end. I looked around the cafe at the tables and the lights and realized I wasn't searching anymore. Some evenings end without a reason, some memories leave without a goodbye. last memory before home. Maybe moving on isn't forgetting. Maybe it's learning to carry the good parts with you and leave the sadness behind. At 10:18, I ordered one last cup before closing time and watched the evening fade away. At 10:18, the rain was finally over, the cafe lights were dimming, and the road home waited quietly. One last cup before closing, one last look through the window, and one last thank you for everything. 10:31, the door closed softly, the lights went out, and the